Hi everyone, welcome. It's Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's time for Stamping with Denise. It's so good to see you tonight. I hope you had a wonderful evening or a wonderful weekend and a great start to your week. I'm so happy you stopped by to see my new project. Like always, if you like what I'm doing, I appreciate it if you would share my video and then comment share down below in the comments so that you get a chance to win the project I'm working on tonight. If you remember last week, I made this fun shaker card, and this is going to go to Mary Wilson. Mary shared my video, and she was randomly chosen from all the names of all the people who shared. And so, Mary, I'll get this card to you the next time I see you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you sharing my video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. And after you do that, please hit the little blue bell, and then you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. I usually upload a video on Monday evenings, so I want to welcome you too. I've got a fun project tonight, a great card layout that's an easy way to use up some of your maybe your designer series paper scraps, or just showcase a lot of different patterns in one layout, one card. I don't know if you're anything like me, you have a ton of paper, and I'm always looking at ways to use it up. So I saw this design and I thought, I like this. I'm going to share this with my viewers. So I'm going to switch the view down to my hand, and then we are going to get started. Okay. These are the cards that I created using the technique I'm going to show you tonight. I don't know what it's called. It's just like a kind of a patchwork almost. And on this one, I used the paper from the Pansy Suite. This one, I used the paper, the Sweet Symmetry Designer Series paper, and that's what I'm going to use tonight. I'm going to use these papers, but then I'm going to take some elements from this and put it on here. You'll see what I'm going to do. But I really like this paper. I'm not sure. I should have looked to see if it's even still available, because it is retiring. So if you like it and it's still available, you need to get it and get it fast. Because you know, right now we have the last chance sale going on, and some things are discounted up to 50%. So it's a great time to stock up. I've seen the new catalog. There's great things in it, but there's some really great things that are retiring too. So if there's something that you want and you want to make sure you get it before it's gone for good, now's your time for stocking up. Okay, so I think what we'll do is I'll put this card off to the side for right now. We'll leave this one right here. Or maybe I'll just kind of put them both there. Okay, but since I'm using this paper, I'll leave this one on top. And so, first of all, I'm starting with a piece of, let me make sure I've got it. For this card, it was basic white cardstock. And this piece is, let me get my notes. Here they are. This piece is 5 by 3 3/4. And this is what we're going to build upon to put our designer series paper on, okay? So the first thing we need to do is you need to get your ruler and you need to find the center. This is 5 inches, so we know that half of 5 is 2 1/2. So take your ruler, just make a little tick mark with your pencil on both of the 5-inch sides, okay? This is going, I mean, you don't have to absolutely do this, but I think it would be really hard to get these straight without it. Now this side here is 3 3/4, and that one, half of that is 1 7/8. So you're going to make a little tick mark there, and a little tick mark 1 7/8 right there, just like that. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. You can see some of them. There you are. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to connect the lines. Now the person I saw do this card initially did not connect the lines. And but I just thought this, by drawing these lines, makes it so much easier to get your pieces of designer series paper on their square. When just using the little tick marks, I would think it'd be easy to that they'd go on crooked. So that's why I went ahead, and we're going to cover it up with paper anyway. And we did something, I'll tell you about it as we go. So now you're going to need 4 pieces of 3x3 designer series paper. You can see I've just used the back sides of these, okay? One thing when you do this, if you have a paper that is directional, like this piece is, you need to pay special attention to that to make sure that when you cut it so that it is upright on your card, right here. And this one's kind of directional, but had it gone the other way, I don't think it would have been the end of the world. The other flower designs are kind of circular, so it doesn't make so much difference there. On this card, you can see I had this paper that was directional. And so that's where I start, because that's the one I want to make sure that I get right. So for ease, I just used the flip side of the paper, and those are the ones I paired together. So those two are a pair. This is the flip side, and that's a pair. Okay. There we go. So now what we're going to do, let me get my paper trimmer. We are going to cut these. Let me turn this around this way. And I'll show you what I did here. Take these 2 pieces and you want to cut them together so that they are exact, okay? So on this Stampin' Up! Trimmer, you can see we have lines. There's a 1/4, there's a 1/2, there's 3/4, and there's 1. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little bit more. There we go. So there's 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1. And then it goes the same way. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. So for the first set, and again, this is my piece that I want to make sure is oriented correctly. I'm going to do it first. So I'm going to put the top corner of these squares on the 3/4 inch line, which is right there. That's the 3rd line. You can see 1, 2, 3. And then I put this corner down here, 1, 2, 3 on the 3/4 inch. And so before I cut, I'm on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Now my dark brown blade is my cutting blade. I'll cut it just like that, okay? So now remember, for this one, we turned it clockwise, okay? This one we're going to turn counterclockwise and do it the opposite way. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, put that corner here, and then 1, 2, 3. Let me see if this is the right, if this is, see, I want to make sure. Something with a little direction, you need to make sure you're looking at that, okay? So let's do that again. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. So the 3/4 inch line, and then 1, 2, 3. Let me go. Make sure. Yep, there we go. So, yep. So there we go. There's that piece, and I'll let you lay these out so you can see how they are cut, kind of the opposite direction, okay? Just so you can get a visual. It's not hard. I would encourage, if you're going to do this, do one with scrap paper. Actually, this was my test one that I did. I used some old retired, this is some Christmas designer serge paper I had scraps of, and I cut it up. And I had 2 directional pieces, and when I cut it, I happened to cut it the correct way. But that was an accident. So, until you get the hang of it, I would use some scraps, okay? So you can see one goes this way, one goes that way. Okay. And we're going to lay this out exactly like this card. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit here. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so I have my card base and I have my adhesive. Now, the lady that I saw do this, she put her adhesive on the back of the pieces, and she put little spaces between them. I'm like, why bother? I'm just gonna butt them right up against each other so that they match, so that I have no gaps to potentially be, uneven. And that way, that'll also, if I have no gaps, that allows me to overlap them a little bit if I need to. So you can just see I'm taking this piece here. You're going to start with the center. You're going to do the center piece, okay? Now, from this stack, the one that matches is this piece. See? And I'm going to put it right on that line. See how it helps to have the line drawn completely across? Because on my sample one that I played with, I just did the tick marks, and I had to kind of overlap a little bit to get them to look straight. Okay, so that's the first one. Then you're going to do the opposite corner the same way. Now, if you wanted to use some Tombow adhesive, liquid glue, that would be great, and that would give you a few seconds to move it around. You can. I didn't feel like I needed it after I had done this a couple of times. There we go. Okay, so see? And see how those go. And you can see they don't exactly match, but they're pretty darn close. And that may just be that they're not cut exactly the same. So now the next one we're going to do, you can see that this is going to go here. So that's going to be the next piece I'm going to put in. I will put my adhesive on there. And I just think if you got into a roll, this would be you could put a bunch of card fronts together, and then put them on card bases later, that kind of thing. And they really could be just about any occasion. A birthday, a congratulations, a missing you, get well soon. You could even use make it for a child's birthday. So you can see I'm working on each square. I work from the center and go out. Okay, and there you go. And if it doesn't match, if you've got little gaps in here, like right here, it's not going to make any difference because it's going to be covered up with the sentiment, okay? So my thought is if somebody's looking that closely at a handmade card, then they probably don't appreciate it very much. So I think that's kind of cool the way it is, but you can see now we're going to trim this down. You could put it on your trimmer, or you could just get your snips and just trim right along the edge of your piece of cardstock. Okay. I know this seems like a lot of wasted designer series paper, but you know what? It really doesn't work with any smaller squares. So you really do need the 3x3s. Okay. And there we go. There it is, just like that one. And I've got my directional pieces going the right way. So yeah, keep those on top when you're cutting just to help you with your visual. Okay, so now I'm taking, for my mat, on this particular card I use the white, again, the basic white. And this piece is, let me just double check my measurements, is 5 1/4 by 4. That's our regular mat size. I'm going to attach that on there. Put this on here. And if you have something that's directional, you've got to make sure that they're both your directional pieces are going the same way. And number 2, hold on, am I a little uneven there? Nah, that looks okay. Make sure that you put them on your card base. This is just Jade. This is one of our end colors that is retiring. Now, I've only got a couple sheets of this left. Again, this stuff that's retiring, I forgot to check before I got on to see what's still available. So, if there's something you want, please don't wait. Here's my address or my web page for my store. Put in this number when you're in your order, and I will send, if your order is between $50 and $149 before shipping and tax, I will send you a free gift. If it's $150 or more, you're already getting free gifts. So you get your own stamp and reward, so that's great. Okay, so that's going to, see, I put it on there upside down. As soon as I did it, I saw that. Hold on. I got to talking, and there we go. You know what I did not too long ago? For the first time, I actually put a card front on a card base. Instead of opening this way, it opened this way. You know what? I saved it. Maybe I've got a friend that's a lefty. That'll surprise them. I don't know. I'll save it. So, now what I've done here is I've got a die cut. I used for this card here, I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies. These also are retiring. Again, I apologize. I didn't check to see if they were still available. I love these dies. I'm so sad to see them go. I might actually keep them because I love them, especially these shapes here. So I cut one out of that. And I'm using this stamp set, the Biggest Wish. It's not retiring, but I just like the big, bold words. I tried to get happy birthday or hello friend on here. It just didn't fit, so I went with the small hello friend. Okay, so let me set this over here. And like I said, I'm putting it together kind of a mixture of the two cards. So I have just Jade. I am going to ink up my stamp here. I have hello friend. I want to do a test one here on a piece of scrap off to the side. I like to do that just to make sure. Yep, I got a good stamp. Okay. And I like being able to put two of them on the stamp block together, so then I don't have to worry about spacing. Once I know that they're straight on the block, at least they'll be straight, together. There we go. Perfect. Just Jade. Going and may already be gone, but anyway. It's always sad, but then there's always new things to replace it. And the new in colors are so pretty. Okay, so let me pull this card out here. You can see what I've done is I've cut another one of these shapes out using the same die, but then I trimmed it down. Let me get my guillotine cutter here and show you what I did to kind of frame this. I love doing this. Is just cut this top. I'm lining this up, just cutting off that top. Really, I could do it with my scissors, because if it was a little crooked, it wouldn't make a big difference. I'm just lining it up on there. Oops. There we go. And where are my scissors? And I'm going to just kind of cut this in half. Put a little bit of adhesive on here. And I'm going to line this up. And this just kind of frames it. Gives it an extra little pop of color. And again, you could, if you only had a small piece of this Calypso coral, you could die cut it out of a scrap. You really don't even need the whole thing. Maybe you have 2 small squares. Easy enough. Okay, so let me see, where are my dimensionals at? I'm going to throw some dimensionals on here. 1, 2, I think I'm going to, this is kind of a big sentiment. I like to put a few extra on there. What are you most sad to see, leave the old catalog? I think I'm going to, for me, I think I'm going to miss the in colors that are retiring, because those are favorites of mine. I really like those colors. Kind of hope Misty Moonlight comes back. Now I'm going to use a retiring set of embellishments. These are the Genial gems. You've seen me use them before. I'm going to use the green ones on here. Pick up a couple of these and put on my card for a little bit of bling. And there we go. So simple. Like I said, when you're doing your cutting of your designer series paper, get some scraps, play with it, make sure you get it right before you go, especially if you only have a limited amount of paper. But I think for a very small amount of designer series paper, you really get a big bang for your buck using that. So that's all I have for tonight. Please like and share my video, comment, share it, and I might be sending you this card next week. Okay, everybody, for Stampin' with Denise, I'm going to say goodnight for now, and please let me know if you got any questions. Have a great week. Bye now.